Jujutsu Kaisen Sequel revealed what our GOAT Yuji Itadori was up to over the years. People, we now understand how he became a legend known as the strongest feared across the sorcery world, just like Satoru freaking Gojo. A familiar voice cuts through the chaos. Guess who it is, people? It's Yuji Itadori. The man, the myth, the legend returns. The old man freezes as the pressure of killing intent is too similar. He felt this before, back when he fought Yuji Itadori. The memory slams into him like a freaking black flash because Yuji was the first person who ever made him feel fear in a fight. Back in those days, after the fall of Sukuna, Magi revealed in chapter 270 that Yuji and Hana were tasked with hunting down the reincarnated sorcerers, separating them from their vessels. That means this old man was one of them, a survivor and player of the culling game. We know this is Yuji because he wore the same jacket and has the same scars we later see in the Ozawa epilogue in chapter 271.5. But in the past, this cursed user, he was one of the few who escaped Yuji's left right good night, using his curse technique to change his appearance, erasing his identity to survive. All of this finally explains why Yuji Itadori became a legend 67 years later to Sugiri's generation. Essentially, he became feared by every cursed user and reincarnated sorcerer. This was even confirmed back in chapter 1 of the sequel, when he was remembered as the symbol of balance in a post-Sukuna world. Now, as a special grade sorcerer, Yuji basically hunted down every single person that Kenjaku's evolution plan had unleashed on humanity. Kenjaku himself confirmed that the culling game had over 1,000 players at least. Each one was a sorcerer born from his experiments as he wanted to cause evolution, right? And even after Sukuna's death, we only saw a few hundreds of these people die, so a lot of them are still roaming free. That means Yuji must have spent years cleansing them all, like the hundreds of American soldiers who had been pulled into this chaos and much more. Essentially, remember the adult tiger? It wasn't evil. It was just a victim of circumstance. His home was destroyed, his river dried up, and he had no choice but to attack humans for survival. And that right there mirrors Sukuna's tragedy. Both of them became monsters because of the world around them. Their violence wasn't born from malice, but from a broken system that glorified strength and abandoned empathy. Osada saw this, and he believed the tiger deserved to live, that even a so-called monster is capable of being understood, just like Yuji believes Sukuna could change. But Sugiri at that point of time rejected it, arguing that mercy means nothing if it costs innocent lives. This clash between Osada and Sugiri is the same debate that defined Yuji and Megami back in chapter 6, when Yuji wanted to save the dude and Megami said, nah bruh, leave him behind, who cares, he's not part of the mission. But when the tiger dies and its children, its cub survives, it's like the story answering the question for us. Strength must be guided by empathy, or power will always end up in tragedy because absolute power corrupts absolutely. And that's what Maru the alien realizes, because watching this unfold, he sees the tiger's death as a metaphor for his own people, the Sumerians. Without understanding and moral connection, coexistence between humans and aliens is doomed. So the cub in the sequel represents Yuji's ideology living on, that even a cursed world can still give birth to hope if someone chooses to nurture it. That's why Sugiri has a character growth in chapter 6, as he is literally showing mercy and gives into Maru's ideals, as he saw Maru nurture this supposed innocent boy in chapter 4 that also lost his parents and home. Maru is the one who tells him that they can become neighbors, people who truly understand why we hold certain things dear to our hearts and who look out for each other instead. Because deep down, Maru relates to humans through their shared pain of losing everything. As a result, Sugiri decides he does not want Maru to be the catalyst of war between their races, because he knows his true heart. He puts all his effort into to waking him up. But the third eye in Maru is too powerful. Like, its aura alone pushes him back. He can't even get close to him. Like, imagine the sheer force behind it, because a heavenly restriction user has damn veins popping out and he's using effort but can't do anything. Like, I get he's not on Maki's level yet, but it looks like anyone that isn't special grade is a joke to Maru when he gets serious. I mean, his curse technique is inertia manipulation. Now, in physics, inertia is an object's resistance to any change in motion. It's what keeps a basketball flying once it's thrown, or a person rooted to the floor when standing still. Maru's ability lets him override that rule completely. He can cut inertia to zero, making water freeze mid-air like he did in this chapter. He can even make metal weights drift like they're in space, and even gravity lose its pull. But on the other hand, he can also amplify inertia, forcing motion to continue endlessly or changing an object's trajectory without applying force, like curving bullets or the rock, or even redirecting punches like he did in this very chapter. He's basically rewriting the equations of motion themselves. Every atom and every molecule becomes detached from Newton's first law. So it's a power that erases the rules that make reality stable, making him pretty easily, in my eyes, a special grade. So knowing he can't beat Maru in this state, Sugiri makes one last plea that they were supposed to be neighbors. This sparks something in Cross. He sees Sugiri stand his ground, ready to face death with his ideals close to his heart, hoping for a brighter tomorrow. And as a result, he swoops in and tells Maru to calm down, switching him off. Cross then ponders, what am I? Why did I even do that? And this leads to a well-known analysis we as a community came to. One of these bros could be representing Sukuna and his reincarnation. At the end of chapter 271.5, we all know Sukuna went north before dying, and in Jujutsu Kaisen, that direction means rebirth. Yuji's final words then come into play when he said, let's try one more time, not by cursing someone, but living alongside them. And in the afterlife, Sukuna understood that love and companionship actually had meaning and wasn't worthless. So his soul most likely entered the cycle of samsara. Like, let's not get it twisted, reincarnation is canon in Jujutsu Kaisen since Sukuna's twin did it, Jogo confirmed it, and much more. So 68 years later, one of these twins, they could literally be Sukuna's reincarnated soul. And that means Yuji's lesson has finally carried over. Sukuna is getting a second chance to actually do the right thing instead of being a dick. And you know what the craziest part is? The Sumerian twins mirror the legend of Gilgamesh and Enkidu, two halves of one soul who defy the gods themselves. And in this case, that would be Dabura. So this could be Gege showing us that things changed. It's the king of curses being represented by Cross or Maru to finish the lesson Yuji started.